Hello everyone, I'm Codewright, and in this video I'm going to show you my gaming computer build and how much it costs to make. Jumping right in, we have a 970A DS3 ultra durable gigabyte motherboard. This retails at around about $80. Next up, we have an AMD Phenom 2 X4 multi-core processor. This processor is a quad core. I chose a quad because it's not exactly necessary for me to have a 6 or an 8 core, so I thought, why not save the money? And this processor retails at about $87.24. Next is a Cooler Master Elite power supply. It powers up to 460 watts, which is great for the price. It only cost me around $40. I chose Cooler Master even though it's a little less than brand name because of the great price, and it works just fine from what I've noticed. Moving right along, we have 8 GB of Corsair Vengeance RAM. It consists of two 4 GB cards. I purchased the blue kind because it matches my overall design that I had for the computer, and these retail at about $70. And lastly, we have a Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo CPU cooler. Compared to the cooler that comes with your CPU, this thing is massive. This fan is one of the top rated of its kind, and for the price you really can't go wrong. In total, it only costs around $30. And now we can finally get started with the build. This here is a Roswell Blackbone computer case, which retails at about around $45. First, you're going to want to start by removing both of your computer case's side panels. After you remove the side panels, you should find a number of things inside. This first bag is basically just extra parts. It has extra locks for your drives, like your hard drives and your optical drives. I didn't exactly need any of these, so I just decided to set them aside. In the next bag, you'll find a lot of important pieces that you'll be needing. This includes screws for your motherboard and other parts. The zip ties in here are for wire management. I'd recommend you purchase more. And these here are your optical cables for your buttons in the front, like your power button. And lastly, your manual, which you'll be referring to through the majority of your build. The only tool you should need for your build is a small tipped Phillips screwdriver. And now let's watch as I attempt to open a box. And there you go, the hardest part of the build out of the way. Inside here you'll find more instructions, but you really shouldn't need these. The instructions that came with your case should show you how to install your power supply. And now to open a bag. Now that that's over, let's install this thing. In my case, I needed to install this with the fan facing down. For you, it may differ. It all depends on what case you have, so you might want to check with your case's instructions. As you'll soon see, the power supply will only install in one way. In this picture, you can tell that one of the screws is off-sided. That's how you can tell which way it goes, because it'll only fit in one direction. Next, I'm going to install the motherboard faceplate. This is the plate that protects all the ports. It can be tricky to install because it is a real tight fit. What you need to do is line it up and push each of the individual corners until you hear it snap in place. Now let's take a look at that motherboard. You'll notice that there's holes in the corners and through the center of the board. You need to insert the pegs so they line up directly with those holes. This is where you'll install your screws later. Inserting the motherboard is going to be a very tight fit. Be very careful because the board can break. It's also good to note that depending on the size of your case, you may need to install your hard drive or your optic drives before you install your motherboard. In smaller cases, the motherboard can get in the way of your installation. However, the case I purchased is large enough to where I can install the motherboard and the drives with the motherboard still being in place. This is it for part 1 of my series. I hope you enjoyed. Please comment, like, and subscribe.